How did your 2018 go? Did you hit your goals? Did you achieve everything that you wanted to do? In this video, I am going to walk you through exactly how my 2018 played out and my key takeaways and how you can implement this for yourself. Hey, I'm Elise Cartwright. Welcome to Hustle and Groove's YouTube channel. So let's jump straight in to my 2018 annual review and key takeaways. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to reflect a little bit. Now, the reason that I'm doing that is because you can't move forward without first looking back. So in this past year, I started out with a fairly robust strategic plan, which you can see in the blog post that goes along with this video. So you'll notice that there was a whole bunch of stuff mapped out, but did I actually achieve all of those things? A couple of other things that I want to make mention here is that I'm a huge fan of the 90-day plans, and that is something that I implemented in 2018 quite successfully, and I'm going to tell you how those really impacted things as I moved through the year. So let's just jump straight in and reflect on each quarter as we work through. So some quick highlights from Q1. I started out with some fairly lofty goals, and I was in the middle of doing a course called Be Booked Out, something that I had thought was going to help me get really clear on setting up my client funnels and all of those things. But the great thing about creating strategic plans and creating 90-day plans is they are flexible. And you want to make sure that if you're doing this for yourself, that you make yours flexible too. So you want to map everything out, but you want to make sure that you can change things as needed. Now, this is why I really love 90-day plans, because you can only ever really map things out 90 days out. You can't map out your entire year because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's exactly what happened with me. So during Q1, or during the first month, I launched a book. So it was already written and published, and I launched it. And I started coaching with a great company called Self Publishing School. So those were two huge milestones that I hit just in the first month. So I was feeling pretty good. On a personal note, in February, we found our own apartment. We stopped house sitting, and we were able to get ourselves kind of settled into a spot. And then everything kind of fell apart. My auntie passed away in February 2018, and things just kind of lost momentum. And mainly because I just didn't take the time to grieve, to regroup, to figure out what was important to me. So I've spent the rest of Q1 really struggling with the meaning of life, just trying to figure out where I fit within what I wanted to do. Because as anyone who knows, death always makes you reassess your life. It makes you look at things differently, and particularly if it's someone that is close to you. So I was hurting for my dad because it was his sister, but I was also hurting for my cousins who had lost not only their mum, but had lost their dad about 7 years ago. So it was just not a great time, and it really threw me, and I really struggled to kind of get back on track. So it forced me to throw out my strategic plan. So that one-page strategic plan that I talked about at the beginning, that I just completely threw out. I was just like, you know what? None of the stuff that's on here aligns with where I'm actually going to want to spend my time for the rest of this year. So that's what I did. And I just basically did things as they came up, which is not always a good thing. By the time Q1 closed out, I was feeling pretty meh. It's really the only word that I can describe, use to describe how I was feeling at the time. So how did Q2 start to look then if I was feeling like this? Well, Q2 was pretty relaxed. I started off Q2 with Easter, and we get 4 days off in a row here in New Zealand. So I spent time with family and friends and just really chilled and relaxed, and took the time to regroup and figure out what the heck I was going to do. And because I had shifted and really shifted my mindset to being one open to receiving opportunities, they actually started to flood in. I was really surprised. So really excited to be invited to Ali to do a productivity for authors workshop. Now, ALI stands for the Alliance of Independent Authors Association. So if you don't know me, I am a full-time self-published author and author coach. So being invited to do a presentation for them was amazing, and something that I really enjoy doing, because productivity is kind of my jam. As you're going to learn, as you get familiar with my channel, you'll learn that I like to do things in a very different way when it comes to productivity. So Q2 started to feel good again, and I really took to heart taking some time out. So I took a couple of weeks off right in the middle of Q2 to have my nieces come and stay with us, and I got to do some fun things with them. I got to go to Kelly Talton's Underwater World. We got to go and watch Peter Rabbit. We did fun things, and I could do that because I work for myself. So it was just a really cool time to be able to do that. So as well as doing that Ali presentation, I was also asked to contribute a chapter to a book called Write and Grow Rich. You can go and check that out on Amazon. It is a #1 bestseller and still is, and it is full of tips from self-published authors who are successful. So I was able to do that as well. So Q2 really started to feel good, but I wasn't tracking with my overarching financial goal, which was to earn $100,000 by 31st December 2018. So at the end of Q2, I was only 25% towards that goal, and I started to freak out. I started to feel pressure, and I started to think, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do that is going to change how this looks? Stay tuned. Q3 involved a lot of change, and I know I'm laughing here because really, when I look back over 2018, I am amazed that I actually got anything done, because there was a lot of change going on. So at the beginning of Q3, my husband and I sat down and went, you know what? For him to grow his business, it made sense for him to just go all in, quit his job, and go full-time in creating his business. So we decided to do that. I was at a position where I could do that. I could float us. We had some savings. So we decided to do that. So by the end of July, Guy had quit his job, and we had decided that we were going to take a 6-week trip to New York and Canada. So that is exactly what we did, and it started off in August. So for the beginning of August, we went to Australia for a few days to catch up with some friends and family and to attend a conference. For the rest of August, we were in New York. It was amazing to spend 12 days in New York, living, breathing, and just pretending that we actually live there. It was a ton of fun. But I learned something really important, and that was, it is not fun to be working and traveling at the same time. Granted, we knew this was going to be a working holiday, but it was more working and less holiday. So by the time we got to the end of our 12 days in New York, I was excited to get to Canada and hang out with our friends and actually get a little bit of time off. So I'd mapped it out and taken some days off, blocked off my calendar, and we were actually able to just chill for a good 5 days before jumping back into working. So Q3 was amazing. We got to work and travel and do a whole bunch of things. And so that by the time we came back to New Zealand, things were feeling really, really good. I had managed to get much further along in my goals, and when I reviewed my Q3, I've realized that I was 80% towards my financial goal. A big difference between the end of Q2 and to the end of Q3. But what happened in Q4? Well, the biggest thing, in my opinion, that happened in Q4 that is worth mentioning is that I got to hire an amazing virtual assistant. Now, Sonia is amazing. She has already started to make a big difference in how I'm able to run my business. She's proactive, and she's just someone who I know that I can give things to and not have to handhold, although she is always able to ask questions. I never ever want her to think that she can't do that. But it gives me a great sense of confidence that I can just hand something to her and she can hit the ground running. So for Q4, hiring a VA was the biggest successful thing that I did. Not to mention, I did a couple of other things. I launched a couple of other books, finished off a course that I had been creating for self-publishing school, and just really rounded off the year. Now, I took 2.5 weeks off in December, so I worked the first 3 weeks, or 2.5 weeks, and then took the rest of December off and only started back at work on the 7th of January. So it was amazing for me to be able to take that time and just relax. It was the first time I unplugged in probably about 3 years. So super, super fun. So 2018 was kind of a mixed bag. At the end of it, I did reach my financial goal, but I felt exhausted. I had hustled my butt off. So I knew that going into 2019, I knew that I wanted things to look a little different. So a couple of things that you can do if you want to do this process for yourself. Number one, it starts by actually tracking what you're doing. So I use a 90-day plan, and I have my sort of 2 or 3 main overarching goals for the entire year. So that will be a financial goal and then a couple of business related goals. And then there's a whole bunch of personal stuff in there as well, but we're just talking about business here. So I have my financial goal and I'm just tracking against that, always checking in at the end of each quarter to go, okay, am I on track? What do I need to do, or what do I need to sell to get back up to that? Which is where 90-day plans are amazing, because you can have that flexibility. And then also tracking against the other things that you have in your business. So your email list subscribers, your social media subscribers, if that's something that you want to track. Who are your customers? What are they doing? So it's just figuring out what that looks like. But the other key thing or key questions that you want to ask are, what worked well in the past year and what didn't work well? It's that last question that really forces you to take a step back and go, okay, what could I have done better? Or what was just something that just was not a good fit for lease in 2018. So I definitely did that. If you want to see the full breakdown of my 2018 annual review, make sure you head to hustleandgroove.com and check it out there. Otherwise, feel free to click the link in the description below. So I'm excited to hear how your 2018 went. Leave a comment in the sections below, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Don't forget, hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I talk about different things from self-publishing, productivity, and email marketing, all with the theme to help you connect and build your tribe. I'll talk to you soon.